Are we? Oh, yeah. There it is.
Hey, we're live. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us. Let's do a podcast. You found us living upon the interwebs because we have no home as far as we know. But we say welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the only podcast from the birthplace of geocaching in the Great Pacific Northwest. We'll talk about caches and cachers unique or from here and around the globe. So while you're busy triple checking the lottery tickets, we'll be caching in the Northwest. And folks, sometimes it's hard to change. Let me tell you that. But
we talking about pants?
Yes. Well, why wear them?
Okay. But
you just heard from our utility chimp. Some say he's a government experiment that's gone wrong. And others say he only eats food grown organically and none of it. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
You know, I have come to really appreciate my new habit of not reading the introductions ahead of time so that I can also be surprised by them. So that I enjoyed that one. I don't think there's a lot of food that grows organically in Nunavut, at least not outdoors. So do you know where Nunavut is?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. Good.
I'll have none of it.
Yes.
It's on the, I know it's part of it's on the Arctic Circle. Is the whole thing in the Arctic Circle? Or just a portion of it?
Well, pretty much. Yeah, I would say pretty much all of it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Keats 94 in the chat. Greenhouses in Nunavut. There you go. That's how you do organic growth. All right. Well, yeah, it's me. I'm going to actually bring us back into the podcast here. And if you are an astute listener or even more so watcher of this podcast, in particular those watching live, you will see that there are some people who have snuck out of the chat and dropped themselves right into the podcast tonight. And that is I Ham and Monkey Cakes. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
All right. Now I have to figure out where that door is that people are getting out of the chat and into the podcast, because I thought we locked that.
You know, I've been on lock picking caches with these two.
Oh,
I don't think a lock is going to be enough.
Okay.
You know, we kept locking the doors, but the kids kept getting in, so we just had to learn from them. So
Clearly. All right. Well, welcome to the show, you guys. It's great to have you here. And I want to also throw out a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. If you don't know what I'm saying when I say patrons, I mean patrons. That's right. If you want to know more about supporting this awesome show, please click on that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
That's right. And we love our patrons, or patrons if you want to be very French, which they are in Canada. We're less French here in America, unless we're talking about fries or salad dressing, sometimes bread.
There you
and
go.
Onion soup. And there's got to be more, but after that, I don't care.
So where are you going with this?
Well, while we love French things, what we love even more are glows, or geocaching log of the week.
Glow Amour.
Oh. Glow Amour. Yeah, I could write a song to that.
Okay. You do that.
You never want me to sing that song.
Please don't.
All right. So Glow Amour.
I've been shut down. Okay, so glows, geocaching logs of the week. Whether you wrote it or whether you read it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. Send an email to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can always call into 253-693-TFTC or use the voicemail tool right there on the website and show us how you glow. Now, this week's glow was sent to us from Bounce via email. And in fact, I've received several glows over the last couple of weeks. So thank you, each and every one of you. I really appreciate it. It allows us to be able to kind of match a theme of a glow to our podcast. And I think it just is more fun. So I appreciate when you guys send in glows. And I read every one of them, by the way. Again, this one came from Bounce Bounce. The geocacher was geoloafing. Drove to Issaquah to meet Geo Ready. That's funny. We have a geoloafing and a Geo Ready. To do some planning over eggs. We both missed Geo Coin Fest. Also heard Bounce Bounce had some beauties, some great caches out there.
So hold on, is that a recipe? Planning over eggs?
Yeah, planning over eggs.
So there. Okay, so they're having breakfast. Okay.
There you go. Yes, and they missed Geo Coin Fest, but they wanted to do some of the Bounce Bounce caches.
Who wouldn't?
Issaquah. Well, I'm telling you. Having skipped dessert, which they had eggs, so I assumed it was breakfast. That'd be a donut, right? Anyway.
Yeah. Dessert breakfast is a donut, clearly, with a coffee.
Having skipped dessert, we unwittingly arrived at GZ. One short. Nope, not the stretch. Not quite the stretch. We need a third. Now you guys are following me where this cache is, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Enter stage right, an elderly gentleman. Excuse me, sir, we need your help. It'll only take a moment.
Oh, I see.
Have you ever heard of geocaching? He was thrilled. Hooked another one. Quite the sight to behold. An old man, an even older man, and a vertically challenged chick, barely breaking 5 feet, dancing the 1 foot and stretch aerobic, banked an unforgettable memory forever. So satisfying, we could have quit for the day and didn't. Too much fun, not to pile on another favorite point. Loved it and loved the sound of that click.
Yeah.
Now, I unfortunately didn't copy the GC number, but in Issaquah, Bounce Bounce made a geocache that 3 people had to do in order to push buttons and release the cache. It's a brilliant cache, and you really should go and do this. Bring a friend, or if it's right after breakfast, there may be some locals that are just walking by that you can pull in to get their help.
Or as you finish breakfast, just stand up in the restaurant and say, I am going to do a Bounce Bounce cache. Who's with me? And everybody's just going to get up and come with you. You know that's going to happen.
Exactly.
But yeah, this is funny because I'm reading this and I'm thinking, so as I said out loud, I clued in eventually which cache this is just before you got to the moment of truth there in the log. This is a great log entry. This is a fantastic cache. And what I think is funny is that if the first cache this elderly gentleman ever did was this one, the bar is set like way up here. And so now he's going to go, oh, geocaching's amazing. I'm going to go out and do some more geocaching. And then, because that's what all old people sound like. And then he's going to get to the next geocache. Yeah, it's going to be a lamppost. Thanks. And he's going to literally go, he's going to be looking around for the buttons and the dials and the LED displays. And he's going to, what the heck? This sucks.
So suddenly he got a much younger voice when he's disappointed.
Oh, sorry. What the heck? This sucks. That's what I'm going to say. Thank you for catching that. I slipped right out of character. And now I'm going to break the fourth wall.
Ooh.
All right. So that is Avro Air threw us a GC code, GC7
Whiskey Echo.
Whiskey Echo, thank you. 07. I think is that this cache?
It's got to be. Yeah.
All right. Hey, keepers of the cash flow, be nice. I said I'm already what old sounds like. That's not nice.
I'm what old sounds like. Let me tell you, I'm the most ancient one on the show tonight.
Well, speaking of old and ancient and an elderly gentleman, I have a story that is sad, but it has a happy component to it. So the sad part is that the creator of Little Free Libraries, you guys have probably found caches in Little Free Libraries, right? You guys, yes? All right. Love Little Free Library caches. They're great because they stay in good shape, as long as they don't get muggled. But the fellow who created Little Free Libraries passed away very recently. So this is a story from NPR. And if you're Canadian, you don't know what NPR is, but it's public radio in the States. So it's basically the CBC of the USA is NPR.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, so the story reads, build it and they will come. In this case, a little wooden box on a post. Well, it's not that little. You can't get too many books in a little box. But anyways, the man credited with building the first little free library died yesterday. Todd Bowl was 62 and had pancreatic cancer. Oh, that's so sad. 9 years ago, he used wood from his old garage door to build the first little free library in his home in Hudson, Wisconsin. Now there are tens of thousands of little free libraries in over 85 countries. Wow, that is a lot. I didn't realize they were that far out. But
Well, I didn't realize it was only 9 years old. It seems like they've been around forever.
yeah. Well, then geocaching got on top of that right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Geocaches in a lot of LFLs.
I think it was the city of Tacoma that wanted to claim the little free libraries as additional dwelling units and charge taxes on them.
Dwelling for whom?
I don't know. Like, how can you have that as a dwelling unit?
Oh,
you might be able to put a canary in there.
You guys in Washington State are cuckoo.
Oh man, it didn't go anywhere, but it was one of those things like, are you kidding me? Come on.
Makes me feel better about living in BC when I hear stuff like that. All right. So sad news that Todd passed away at 62 with pancreatic cancer. That is very sad, and certainly, sadness and for his family and friends, of course. But he, through his invention, brought joy to many thousands of others. So there's definitely a legacy left behind for him.
85 countries.
Yeah, a legacy of education and pleasure.
Yep, exactly. I haven't invented anything that's in 85 countries, so
well, you
good on you. And cancer sucks, but pancreatic cancer is incredibly aggressive. So, I feel for his family who's going on without him.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about something a little more uplifting.
Okay.
Do y'all remember? You see how I did that?
Oh,
y'all remember?
Back in America now. Okay.
Yeah. The geocaching podcast. It took a little break over the summer, but it's back. And now it is a call-in show. Once again, that's how it started, as a call-in show on Wednesday evenings. You got to go have a listen. I personally want to say thank you to Scott Burks for your hard work in getting this groundbreaking podcast going again. Head on over to geocachingpodcast.com. Find out more about it.
Absolutely. So if you go to their website, they make it really clear. It's no problem finding the phone number to call in. They let you know in advance each week what the topic's going to be. So if you have some ideas and thoughts you want to share, you call up. Jesse screens the calls, and you get on with Scott and Taz, and you get to talk about whatever geocaching topic they're talking about that week. It's a great format.
Actually, Land Monkey, doesn't this set a world record for geocaching podcast tonight with you?
Well, that's what I'm shooting for. I don't know if it is a world record, but I'm really hoping so. So what Chris is getting at is this is my fourth geocaching related podcast that I am featured in or on this week. So that's 4 geocaching podcasts in 1 week. Thank you.
Hooray, hooray. Everybody give a golf clap and we'll move on.
It's the week of the monkey.
Yeah. Now, tonight we're going to discuss Utah geocaching and a twist of lime. Lime bikes, that is.
Oh.
So, as always, throw any comments or questions into the live chat. If you want to ask something of our guest, use hashtag Utah. That's UTAH. I had to think there. Or if you want to have something in the after show, use hashtag FTAS. That's for the after show. We like to say FTAS.
All right. So, we're going to discuss that stuff. And you know what? Let's get started with our guests. Folks, you've been very patient. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Now, we heard that you recently returned from a hashtag geocache road trip, and we'd love for you to tell us about it.
Well, sure. We left 2 weeks ago today for a trip in Utah and Wyoming. and we wanted to get some new states and fill in some Jasmer squares.
Nice. You know what? Let's back up for a minute. For those who don't know what a Jasmer is, we're talking about the Jasmer Challenge, and I get this right from the geocaching website. It says popular in the United States. Popular in the United States, the Jasmer Challenge requires geocachers to find a cache hidden each month since the beginning of geocaching in May 2000. To give a sense of the breadth of this challenge, there are less than 120 caches hidden in 2000 that are still active. So there you go. Was that a good radio announcer voice?
That was not bad. That was impressive. Thank you very much. And I feel much calmer
Mhm.
now. So I'm going to take all this calmness and convert it back into kinetic energy. All right.
Ooh.
So, guys, tell us, did you, of course, I know I'm a big fan. Everybody knows I'm a huge fan of the Utah Geo Tour. So I want to know, did you go there to do the Utah Geo Tour?
No, we did not go for the tour itself. On the other hand, we did qualify for one of the county patches, and we ended up with several Geo Tour caches in other random counties, but not enough to get patches for more than just the one county. But and some of those were quite well done. We got to say, we really liked them.
Yeah, I love that Geo Tour. Super quality caches. And for those who are listening live tonight, I got my jacket. My Geo Tour jacket arrived today.
Yay!
Hooray!
So Mrs. Monkey and I have matching Utah Geo Tour jackets. So find us at an event near you soon, and we'll definitely be wearing these jackets because I'm
And be
sleeping.
sure to sign them with the silver Sharpie.
No, do not. You're not allowed. Come and see me and talk to me, and I'd love to talk to everybody, but do not touch the jacket.
I will be providing boxes of silver Sharpies at all of Land Monkey's events.
Love you, Chris.
Yeah, I know you do.
All right.
Anyway,
You know, he says love, but I think he means something else.
Yeah.
so anyway,
Yes.
we've been wanting to go get some of these Jasmer grids filled in. We were shooting for Potter's Pond, which is, by the way, GC3B. And that was on our list. And Southern Idaho's First in Pocatello was also on our list. And, you know, we had some airline vouchers that we needed to use. So we needed to make use of them. We decided to go and fly to Salt Lake City. We had our scheduling was kind of determined by the school calendar at the school where Monkey Cakes works. So she had a long weekend coming up. We decided to make it a little bit longer. We went Thursday through Monday. And so we'd been watching, you know, put a geocaching watch on the Potter's Pond cache so we could see as people were finding it how things were going. We were starting to be a little worried that we had waited a little too late into the year because it is up at 9,200 feet up in the hills. But our schedule was dictated by the school calendar. And there were some folks that found it in the week before, and they said that there was about ankle deep snow at the cache site. And we figured, okay, we can handle ankle deep. That's not too bad.
Okay. So using the watch list feature on geocaching.com is a great way to be able to monitor caches, especially if you're worried about weather, or, you know, when we wanted to go do Monte Cristo, you know, I put a watch list on that to see if, you know, say the roads were open. So same idea.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Now, you started off the trip. Did you find any caches before Potter's Pond, or did you, you know, land in the plane, get a car, and drive right out there?
Not quite. We actually, before we even left, we grabbed one before we went to the airport. And then once we got into Salt Lake City on Thursday evening, got settled in our hotel, and on our way to dinner, we grabbed another one, and that gives us a almost 700-mile distance between caches in a day. So that's always a fun thing to do. And then after dinner, we got one more so that Monkey Cakes would be at a fine total of $27.98 before we headed out the next morning.
It seems like a very specific number.
Yes,
Okay.
it is. So we decided to leave out early the next morning. So next morning we got up early, packed up our cold weather gear, packed up our hydration packs. It was very dry, even though there was snow on the ground when we got up to the cache site. It was very dry, so we had to make sure we stayed hydrated. From the Salt Lake Airport area, it was about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive down to Potter's Pond. That included crossing a pass at 9,655 feet. And about 45 minutes of that trip was along Miller's Flat Road, which when we rented the car, the gal said, no off-roading. And we're thinking, well, it's a road. It's on the map as a road.
Off-roading, yeah. I've been on that road. It's not off-roading.
Yeah, it's not off-roading.
Except that it was
like a highway.
There's icy.
So anyway, unpaved, single track, and it was actually fairly icy in several places. And this is where we were glad we had rented an all-wheel drive vehicle. So anyway, we got up to the Potter's Pond campground, parked at legendary Site 19, except for we were actually, I think, at Site 18 and didn't realize it at the time. But we got our hiking poles out, got our hydration packs on our back, got our jackets out, our gloves ready. And then we stopped by GC 2 Delta Kilo 5 Alpha, which is the Potter's Pond 10 and 59-year birthday bash. That's where we first saw evidence that the land monkeys had been there before us. Your stamp was in the vlog. It was pretty awesome.
The card that I leave behind sometimes.
Yep.
Surprised I was still there.
Yeah. Well, actually, we didn't see the card in that one. We just saw your stamp in the log. So,
oh, I see. Okay. Gotcha.
But from there, we bypassed another couple of caches, crossed the stream, and you do have to cross a stream to get to Potter's Pond from the parking area. And then it was up, and up to get to the final. You have to go up the hill. It's another, from the parking area, it's close to another 200 foot of elevation gain.
In 400 meters.
In 400 meters. And that was in snow and over a lot of deadfall logs. So, and the snow was no longer just ankle deep. There were places it was calf deep on me, which put it about knee deep on Die Monkey or Monkey Cakes.
Wow.
So, but by that point, we were close enough to ground zero. We weren't interested in bailing out. We got to within about 30 meters of ground zero, figured it had to be one of two trees. And we chose the first one. We chose correctly on the first try. And there we were. And that was fine number 2,800 for a Monkey Cakes. So, by the way, we're calling in a landmark fine here. So,
oh, nice. Well, that's awesome.
Milestone find.
That is a milestone find for sure. And yeah, when you get up close, it's the big tree. That's where the cache is.
Yep. There's a big tree and there's a bigger tree, and it's the bigger tree.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, glad you guys were able to get that, and congrats on the 2,800 milestone. That's awesome. Milestones are great. Now, were there any surprises that you perhaps were not quite prepared for on that hike?
Well, there was a couple things. One, we were not really, we were surprised by how warm we got hiking in the snow. I mean, it was a clear, sunny day. And even though we were in calf to knee deep snow, the effort caused us to shed layers because we were getting close to overheating with all the effort of getting through the snow, and then the bounce of the sun off the white snow. Got a little bit of sunburn as well, so that was a little bit of a surprise. We tried
walking in snow is the only time you can get the underside of your chin sunburn.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So we tried a different path down. We got up to ground zero, signed the cache, and then we saw there was another pair of tracks leading away from the tree. We figured, oh, that's heading in the general direction of one of the other caches that's nearby. So we decided to follow it down. Yeah, I have no idea where those footprints were originally coming from, because they did not take us to where the other cache was. We kind of bushwhacked over to where we thought it was, ended up DNFing it, and then kind of cross-country back over. There was a letterbox hybrid right near the stream crossing. So we grabbed that and got back to the car. And then by that point, our boots had filled with snow. Our pant cuffs were very damp. Our socks were soggy. So one of the other things we had done in prep was make sure we had a full change of clothes, because there was no way we wanted to spend the rest of the day in soggy clothes after doing a cache. What we didn't realize was this was going to have some further impacts later in our trip.
Well, I can tell you, walking around in soggy boots is the worst thing ever. If you can keep your feet dry and warm, really, for me, if I keep my feet dry and warm, I can hike all day long.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of me will regulate. But it sounds like there might be more surprises coming.
A few, yeah.
Okay.
So the first surprise that we had was actually not related to that, but as we were heading back down, we got to the entrance to the campsite area, getting ready to turn on to Miller Flat Road. And one of the local hunters drove up on his four-wheeler and said, "You can't go that way. There's a tow truck blocking the road."
And they could be hours.
And they could be hours. It's like, okay. He says, you can follow Miller Flat Road the rest of the other direction, further away from Salt Lake City. He says it'll add about 40 miles to your round trip. Okay, well, we're here. We want to go out. We are so glad that we got detoured, because we hit some absolutely gorgeous geological formations, some just beautiful, beautiful landscaping. We got a couple of earth caches that we would not have gotten otherwise. So it was very nice. But it did add a couple of hours probably to the round trip. So anyway,
okay. So the guy who gave you directions was not on a riding lawnmower or any type of vehicle, right? Small four-wheel vehicle.
He was on an all-terrain vehicle that he had been using for hunting.
That's awfully close to a ride-on lawnmower.
It was not a riding lawnmower.
Okay.
Well, we had seen a trailer off the road on our way in that we had been able to get around. So yeah, if a tow truck was there to get it, there would have been no way to.
Right, and it would have taken a while to get
barely fit through.
So. Right. Well, hooray for Earth caches. Was this on International Earth Cache Weekend?
Yes, but this was actually the Friday, so they didn't count.
Oh.
See, you should have just, logged them the next day, because that's not what Land Monkey does.
No.
I saw the glare from Land Monkey and stopped me dead in my tracks.
Wow, that was stink eye if I ever saw that.
Promote that kind of behavior.
Guys, I'm only kidding. I did that just to
poke the monkey.
Poke the monkey.
All right.
No, you find Earth caches on Earth Cache Weekend and log them then. That's the proper thing to do.
And there were enough Earth caches scattered throughout Utah that finding some during the weekend was not a problem.
Yeah, there's some great Earth caches out here.
There are some phenomenal ones, yes.
And I think that's the thing, is coming from the coast and then going into Utah, it's just, they're different kinds of Earth caches. It's different geology. So it's way more interesting, because it's not, we know it. Over here on the West Coast, especially in the Northwest, we see a lot of waterfalls. We see a lot of glacial erratics. We see, we see a lot of what did the Columbia ice field, or not Columbia, what did the, the glaciers
Glacier.
do to this part, so
Flattened it just like it did over there.
and the Great Missoula Lake and ...
Yep.
But so it's neat to go somewhere else where you get some different geology. That's cool.
Yep.
Go ahead,
We
Dan.
actually did get our Earth Cache badge with the Devil's Slide geocache.
Oh, I love Devil's Slide. That's a cool
that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But that was on Saturday. And Saturday, we actually made a run into Wyoming because we wanted to get another state badge. Gee, imagine that. And we also wanted to go up and visit historic Fort Bridger. So it was not purely a geocaching outing. The one thing that we were actually surprised was that we lost cell coverage right before we crossed into Wyoming, and did not have any cell coverage. So I was really glad I had preloaded all these caches into my phone before we got out of cell coverage. But we were right along I-80 the entire time, and yet there were no AT&T towers active along there.
Lots of other towers that we could see, but none of them were.
Yep, none of them were AT&T, so that was kind of a surprise.
Well, I believe in the entire state of Wyoming, you only get cell coverage in Cheyenne, the capital. Everywhere else is,
And the ranger station in the park, yeah.
Yep, pretty much. So, so anyway, we stopped for some caches along the way. It took us about 2 hours to get from Salt Lake City to Fort Bridger.
That's not bad.
And then we headed back in, got some other caches, including the Devil's Slide Earth Cache. And then Saturday evening, we do what we like to do when we're traveling, and that is we host a event so we can meet some of the local cachers as we go. And we had about 12 people that put will attends on our cache, and we had 2 people show up.
Wait, are these the 2 people we're talking to tonight?
No. It was a total of 4.
Okay.
So us plus 2 others.
Okay.
So
well, that makes an intimate event.
Yeah. It qualified. Plus we got dinner out of it. So there you go.
And learned about some cool caches in the area.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one of the best things about meeting local cachers, right? Get to have those conversations.
Exactly.
The inside scoop.
Now, I have actually looked at going from Salt Lake City to run over to Wyoming because, as everybody on this podcast has heard me say so many times on my road trip many years ago, I somehow missed Wyoming. So I've got to find a way to sneak Wyoming back in. And from Salt Lake City, it's not that far. I mean, it is a bit of a trip.
It's only about an hour and a half to the state line.
Unless you stop and do caches on the way.
Which, of course, you have to do. There are caches to be found.
Yes, there are.
Now, you also said that you were going after Southern Idaho's oldest. How did that go? And was that about the same distance?
It would have been about the same distance, except for the fact that we decided not to head there. Because on Saturday or on Sunday morning, when we were going to go, we discovered that our hiking boots had still not dried out from our snow adventures on Friday.
Oh, no.
And quite honestly, we had no desire to go hiking in 30-degree wind chill in soggy boots. We just thought that would be kind of, out and out stupid.
Yeah.
Well, and as we said before the show, I said, those boots won't stay soggy long in 30-degree wind chill.
No, because they become crunchy at that point.
And that's not a lot of fun.
That's not any better, no.
Okay.
So anyway, we decided to go for a more leisurely day. We went up to the Golden Spike National Historical Monument, got the old virtual that's there at the Golden Spike location. For those that don't know, that's where the Eastern and Western railroads came together, nose to nose. They drove a symbolic golden spike to mark the joining of the transcontinental railroads. So that was that. And
Was the golden spike still there? Did you get a little piece of it?
no, we did not.
Bummer.
So hold on just a moment here. So then the other thing we discovered as we came down was the place where it's now Northrop Grumman. It used to be Morton Thiokol, where they used to test the rocket boosters from the space shuttle, not to mention a number of other rockets as well. There is a GeoTour cache there, as well as a virtual. And so we stumbled across that. That was a lot of fun. And then made our way further back down the lake to Antelope Island and went wading in the very, very cold Great Salt Lake just because you're there, you've got to do it. And anyway, so that was Sunday. And then Monday, we after we checked out of our hotel, we went up and did the caches at the state capitol. There's a very well done GeoTour multi that takes you through the Capitol building and the Capitol grounds. And that's where we actually came across the Land Monkey business card.
Or the monkey droppings, as they've been called.
Monkey droppings, yep. And then caught a late afternoon flight home. So that was our hashtag geocaching road trip. And I don't think we actually noted how many miles we put on the rental car, but it was
a lot.
It was a lot.
That's the beauty of having the rental car.
Just got it.
Right. Yeah.
There you go. So you guys did some of the GeoTour caches. We talked about that a little bit earlier. And which county did you get the badge for?
Which county was it?
Davis.
Davis County. Yep.
Okay. I think that's the fish on that patch. But anyways,
I have to look at my list.
Yeah. So you have the little trifold.
Yep. Yeah. We
passport.
We got the passport before we ever left. So
nice. And just a tip for folks, if you're thinking about going to Utah, if you contact, there you go, Chris has got his. If you contact the GeoTour folks online, they will actually mail you out your passport in advance. So if you're planning a trip to Utah, thinking about it, even if you're thinking, well, I might go next year, just contact them. They'll mail you out the passport. And then you've got it. So when you get out there, what do we got? What do we got going on here? Oh, we got
Davis County is a buffalo.
Okay.
It was Davis.
There you go. I can't remember which one is. One of them's like a rainbow trout. I can't remember which one it is. And
Seaver.
There you go. Well done. So anyways, yeah, I just was, I can't put enough plugs in for that GeoTour. The caches are all pretty consistently amazing. Now you said earlier that you enjoyed them. What did you like most about the GeoTour caches?
I think they were well put together. They seem to be well maintained. I did notice that most of them aren't going anywhere because most of them were chained in place so they wouldn't walk off. Yeah. We actually did not catch any of the ones that were the painted ammo cans, which I was a little disappointed in, because I understand that some of the artwork on some of the ammo cans is pretty phenomenal. So that was a lot of fun, though. They were well done. The info you need to collect is very obvious inside the lid of the can. You cannot miss it unless you're just like not looking. So, but I think they've done a really good job with it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd agree with that totally.
Yeah, okay, from what I've heard of the Utah GeoTour, I assumed they had a good portion, more than 50% of their ammo cans painted, but maybe they're working from the south to the north. Right? You did mostly northern Utah.
Yeah, we were mostly in northern Utah, so yep.
Yeah, the painted ones tend to be on more the not central counties. They were more in the peripheral counties out on the edges. And I know there's like this density of counties right down the middle of Utah. So
yep.
Yeah,
so
cool.
And I can see us going back to Salt Lake City. There's some phenomenal hiking and phenomenal. I mean, there's a ton of geocaches we did not get. ton of earth caches we did not get. And the side trip to Pocatello is still there waiting for us. So
Yeah, that's a nice cache too. That Southern Idaho's oldest, and there's a webcam right in Pocatello as well. So you got to grab that when you're there. Cool. So it sounds like a great trip. Sounds like a lot of fun.
I think one of our other favorites in Salt Lake City has to be there's a puzzle right near the library, and I'm not going to spoil it. It's just really well done. So.
Nice.
Awesome.
And there's nothing quite like travel caching, because the caches are from hiders that you're not used to seeing, so everything looks a little different, a little more special than here's another bounce cache. Boy. Okay, well, that may be a bad example.
Oh darn, another goblin dust.
Yes, exactly. But you're out, you're exploring new areas, so everything's, your senses are a bit more heightened. So, hey, sounds like a great geocache road trip. It was a bit chilly, so you may not be using the type of transportation I want to talk about next. And I want to talk a little bit because the city of Tacoma here has been inundated or invaded with these green vehicles. And I'm not talking earth friendly, though they are.
Well, they are, yeah.
But they're actually green in color. And the Lime bikes and the scooters, and we also have Blackbird scooters, and all these have come to Tacoma.
Well, and actually, when we were in Salt Lake City, they had a bunch of the Blackbird ones down there, and I had never seen them before. I get back to Tacoma, and they've introduced Blackbird in the time I was gone.
We also saw Lime in
Salt
Lake City.
Yep.
So it's all over the country. It's all over the world, for that matter. But what do you think that these ride-sharing vehicles, be it scooters or bicycles, how they're going to have an impact in urban caching? So let's say you go to Utah, you go to Salt Lake City, and you fly in, and you're not going to rent a car. You could take public transportation to your hotel. Maybe there's a Lime bike right outside. You could jump on and go find some caches nearby. Is that something you think you would do, or would you still use a taxi or a Uber?
A lot depends on distance. And if I remembered to pack a bike helmet.
Now,
Bring your own helmets, eh?
I know here in Tacoma, there is a helmet law. So that kind of makes it inconvenient for that quick pickup. Hey, let's just go grab a scooter and see where we go today.
Yeah, there's a helmet law in Vancouver as well. So you have to be aware of that.
Is the helmet law for scooters as well, or just for bikes?
I would assume both.
Do grown-ups use scooters?
Some of these scooters are grown-up scooters with electric assist.
That's crazy. I haven't seen that.
There was a new cache that published, was it 2 days ago, 3 days ago, somewhere in there, about a kilometer from my office. And I was sorely tempted to grab one of these scooters and go scootering over to the park where it was hidden. So I did not do it, but I was sorely tempted. It would have taken a bit longer than my lunch hour would have allowed.
Yeah. We're a 3-driver family with 2 cars. So often I'm the one stuck at work. And Monday, there was a Lime bike 2 blocks away. I was just about to go get it when my wife called. Okay, I'm on my way to pick you up now. I went, oh, kind of wanted to do it. But, not having a helmet, that's kind of the killer, the golden spike in this plan.
It's more the wooden spike.
Yeah. So Kev MacD over in the chat said that the blue bikes, the Shaw bikes up here in Vancouver have helmets provided, and you get helmet liners because shared helmets that people sweat in ew, but there's liners to take care of the ew factor. So that's kind of cool. Or as you guys say, just plan ahead a little bit and bring your own helmet. And apologies. Stark Casher has an electric scooter, so there you go. Grown-ups do use scooters. I am incorrect.
Yeah, I want to go try them out. Now, I have seen on, like a Indiegogo or a Kickstarter, I haven't actually seen one in stores, a collapsible helmet. So one that would collapse down, you could put it in your backpack, which I figure if it collapses on its own, when you need it, won't it collapse as well? And your skull's inside that? I don't know.
Go wrong. There you go.
Kev MacD says, plan ahead.
Bum.
Space a head. But okay, so these rideshare vehicles are not free. I don't know the price of the non-electric ones. I haven't looked. I don't know if they're all the same. But the electric bikes and the electric scooters in this area are $1 to unlock and 15 cents per minute.
Okay. So you kind of got to be paying attention to that. But if you at least know what the rate is, you can plan ahead a little bit and have a sense of how much money you're going to need to spend for that. So that's
right. So it's cheaper than a taxi, probably cheaper than an Uber. And there's no awkward questions.
Yeah. Well, it depends how far
you want to go where?
Yeah.
Do what?
You want me to wait while you do what?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So that's interesting. So Chris, you had figured out a little bit of stats around what that might look like.
Well, I did some math. So let's say I did math. Are you proud of me?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Well done.
So let's say you grab one of these bikes and you're going to go, a couple of miles. You're going to go to some highly favorited caches. And that's all you want to do. You only want to hit about 3 caches, and then you've got meetings to go to, what have you. So here's my question. At 15 cents a minute while you're renting it, what do you do with a bike when you're looking for the cache? Do you park it and just let the meter run? Or do you lock it, basically return it, and then unlock it again once you found the cache?
Well, if it's $1 to re-unlock it a second time, that's depends on how long you're going to be looking for the cache.
Right. So, at 15 cents a minute, about 6.5 minutes is $1.
Yeah. So yeah, Dan brought up a good point that there's another $1 for the locking it. The other thing is how far away is where, because you can't just leave the bike anywhere and magically lock it, right? Like they have stations you have to return them to. So
no.
These are dockless.
These are dockless.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
In Seattle, it's become a real issue because there were 4 or 5 of these bike companies. And so everybody wanted, several of their bikes at one location, and people would just leave them in the middle of the sidewalk. It made it difficult for those in wheelchairs or walkers or needing some assist to walk to get through, or women with strollers. It became a real issue.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, even in Tacoma, the things have popped up like mushrooms all over the place.
Interesting. Okay, so then that takes away the point I was thinking about, which in Vancouver, there's certain areas where you would dock them, and then that's where you would leave the bike and you just walk from there, and then you go pick up another bike and tootle along. So,
no, you could ride right to the cache location, jump off, find it, sign it, jump back on and go.
Right. So,
but if you're, spending more than 6.5 minutes looking for the cache, then it becomes debatable if you should have unlocked or relocked it, or I don't know what the terminology is. Stop renting the bike.
There you go. Well, I'll have to check that out and play around with that a little bit more. All right. Well, you guys in the chat have been awesome. You've been keeping lots of little interesting tidbits coming. We're trying to drop them into the show as we go. So once again, thank you very much to everybody out there in the chat. Hope you're having a great night. You help make this show better by your participation. You guys are an awesome community, and you make our lives better just for being there. So thank you. I think that just about wraps it up for tonight. What do you think?
Yes, we're close to it. Of course, we want to thank our guests. So thank you, IHAM and Monkey Cakes, or Camp Clan as they're known together when they're caching. Thank you so much for telling us about your Utah trip and talking about possibly a new way to go urban geocaching.
Well, thank you all for having us on.
Yeah.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. And we also want to extend thanks to Landsharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. That's landsharks.ca, the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online or visit their store in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia. And folks, it's quickly approaching last call for the Southern Caribbean Geocaching Adventure Cruise, January 20th through 30th. So if you're thinking of getting on that, and I know final payment actually was due this week. So I don't know if Landsharks is in the chat. Maybe they can update me. Maybe we've passed last call. But if you want to find out more, go to Landsharks, or actually go to travel.landsharks.ca. And that's sharks with a Z. And you can find out more and come along with Mrs. Monkey and myself on the Southern Caribbean Geocaching Adventure Cruise in January. It's going to be so much fun. Really excited about that.
How much fun?
All the fun.
Ooh, all the funds.
Yep.
I love it. Hey,
what?
We're not done with Landsharks.
Oh, okay. We're not just tossing them to the side.
Oh, no, we like Landsharks.
Okay.
Hey, there is a contest going on. We just released the information today, and we've already got a lot of entries into this contest. We want you guys to get the scoop on fall cache maintenance. Head on over to any of our social medias. That could be Go Landsharks or Caching NW on Twitter. Which one is your Twitter?
Landmonkey GC.
Landmonkey GC. Yeah. You know, you say it every week, but that doesn't mean I'm listening. Of course, look us up on Instagram and Facebook as well. We'll put all these later in the show, as we always do. And tag 2 friends in that message, send it back out, and you're going to be entered to get a sweet shark-shaped coin. Yes, it's shark-shaped.
Yeah. And if you take a look at the image of it and kind of zoom in and look at the detail on it, it's really cool. That is a super awesome coin. And you guys made me a little bit sad when you told me I can't win it. So whoever wins it, you're going to be one lucky geocacher. So get out there on the internets, repost or share that posting with the coin in it there and the rules to the contest. And this contest is going to last forever. So get out and do that now, because we're only going to run this contest for about 1.5 weeks, and then that's it. So go do it now, like now, or at least this weekend. But don't wait, because then you have 0 chances to win the coin.
Well, you might want to wait till after the after show.
No, just go on Twitter, Facebook right now while we're talking.
Go there now.
Awesome. Well, you know what? We also want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Bounce Bounce, Team Squirrel, Limax, and WorldCaching.com. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting the show, click that Patreon link over on the CachingNW.com website. And all of our supporters are Broncos Fan for Life, Sprouter, Camp Clan, Tick Magnet, Kev MacD, Subway, Mark Dormore, Dune Buddy, Kid Vegas 19, GeoNav Pro, Wino Seattle, Acrodoc, Billy Robson, Genies, and Teus, Keats 94, Trexer 0, MC3 Cats, and Kennel Barbin. Yes, I did take a breath.
I was gonna say I caught you on a breath on that one. Oh, now, Land Monkey.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause here just enough for you to catch your breath one more time and tell listeners where they can find you besides Twitter, which we now know is Landmonkey GC. Where else can they find you on the interwebs?
Well, Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope is all at Landmonkey GC. Facebook, we're Team Landmonkey, and I really would love people to come over and check us out on YouTube. And if you didn't know, we've been posting videos on YouTube for about 5 years of our geocaching adventures. And we recently just changed up the format, and they're a lot more like a travel adventure, learn a little bit, but also have some crazy fun. We just posted our first Russian one. The video is not in Russian, although when it first starts, you might think it might be, but the video is in English, but it takes place in Russia, and we go to some amazing places. And I'm editing the second Russian one, which is just awesome, crazy fun. I'm really excited about it. So go over to YouTube, search for Land Monkey. That's LANMONKEY, and enjoy the videos, like them. Share them with your friends. Tell your mom to watch them.
I am going to challenge you to do your next one in Russian.
That's not
a
going to
Russian video in Russian, or do it with a very bad Russian accent.
Yeah, you know, I just have too much respect for other cultures to do that. I obviously don't
Alrighty.
have respect for old men because I have no problem doing an old man accent, but
Get off my lawn.
rotten kids. All right. And regarding the contest, I just see in the chat right now, Dora Moore asking how many entries can we submit? Is there a limit? No limit. Go for it. Knock your socks off.
You're only going to win one coin, though. But
There's only one coin.
But stuff the ballot box all the same.
Exactly.
Vote
Nothing
often,
wrong with
vote
that.
early.
Vote early, vote often.
There you go. All right. So, Chris of the Northwest, where would people find you on the interwebs?
Well, if you go on Twitter, you can find me at CachingNW. Facebook, you can find me at CachingNW. On Instagram, I just relaunched at Caching in the Northwest.
Yeah, you did.
You could head over to cachingnw.com/host, read our bios, and find those links to all our socials, as the kids are saying these days.
Our socials. That's just a totally different connotation if you're over 40. Oh, that's
like
funny.
an ice cream social?
Yeah, right? That's funny.
Or a social security number? What's your social?
All right. Well, you want me to wrap it up here?
Yeah, send us your social security number. You'll be fine.
And your birth date.
And your mother's maiden name. Other than that, we don't need anything.
And so we thank you for sending us all your personal information. We also thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Remember that you can be a part of this show by calling 253-693-TFTC, leaving us a comment, asking us a question, renting us a line bike anytime of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Also, as we've mentioned previously, your support helps to keep quality shows coming. So if you enjoyed the show, please click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and more. The show is produced by Chris Umfenauer and Jay Kennedy, hosted by Chris J. and usually Jim Paulwitz. This show is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Copy all right, 2018 by Chris Umfenauer.
I don't think I've heard my name stretched out quite that long before.
You're special, buddy.
Hey, but folks, we invite you to stay for
the after show.
It's like
Yeah, that sounded like Jim.
Yeah.
The after show.
Yeah, I think it's him.
There we go. Thanks, Jim.
Folks, if you're new to Caching in the Northwest, the after show is just a time where we get to chat briefly with the people who are joining us live on the podcast. And, you know, we get to talk about anything. It doesn't have to be anything related to the show. If you want to have something included in the after show, use the hashtag FTAS, FTAS, in the chat. And we've got a special show. What are we calling them? Podcasting lackey to help us.
Yeah, we do. And look at that. He's been busy. I didn't see all this stuff.
Oh, yeah. We got it all going.
It's so nice to have a podcast lackey. I don't have to
Yeah.
do this anymore. I can actually pay attention to what I'm talking about.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Yeah, I know.
I
right?
wasn't paying attention.
All right. So, so
Well, let's start with one from Dora Moore
okay.
that says, tip for drying out soggy boots. Stuff them with balled up newspaper. And if you're at a hotel, you're probably getting a free newspaper anyway. What else are you going to do with it? You don't really read those things anymore.
It's interesting. I'm curious how well that works. I'm going to have to try that next time I've come home with soggy boots, which is like every hike this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just, you know, going out to work, you can come back with soggy boots.
It depends where you work, I guess. All right. What else have we got? Keepers of the Cash Flow has a hashtag FTAS. I drove through Salt Lake with my dad. It was when the Olympics were there. That's cool. He was quite shocked to look beside himself and see an Alberta RCMP car passing him. I guess that would be surprising in Salt Lake. Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, grab another one.
GeoNavPros wants to know who's going on a hashtag geocaching road trip this weekend. I'm going to the event Nightmare in Preston.
Oh, neat.
It's a I believe it's a WSGA event. So yeah, Halloween themed.
Very cool. Yeah, I've heard about that event before. I keep thinking, oh, I should plan to go down, and I keep forgetting. And for us this year, or at least the rest of this calendar year, we're actually really rolling back the geocaching because we can only find an average of 10 caches per weekend until the cruise if we want to hit our 15,000 milestone in a different country, which is the goal.
Oh man, that elevation you've brought the game to really is impeding your normal enjoyment of the game, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
actually, it's strangely relaxing to actually be able to do things other than geocaching. Well, I shouldn't say be able to. You can always stop geocaching. Well, maybe, I don't know.
No, you can't.
And Bri Lang in the chat says so limiting. Go get another 1,000, and we have done that before. I mean, this year if we kept going at the pace we were at, we'd have over 3,000 finds just for this year. So that's why it's actually kind of like, all right, yeah, we can train it back for a couple of months and just do an average of 10 per weekend. But we are really looking forward to getting over to Vancouver Island, to Victoria in December for the event with Land Sharks, when we're going to hopefully get all 3 hosts and have an event at the Shark store. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're really, really looking forward to that.
Do we have a
Nice.
date for that yet?
16th.
Is it official?
Yeah, it's the December 16th.
December 16th. Okay. That's a Sunday.
Yes.
We're still working on the time. I really want to check ferry schedule in that, so I don't pick a time and go, oh, well, that didn't work out. People from this way couldn't get in. So I'm thinking
earlier in the day is what we're saying.
I'm thinking earlier in the day, midday, right around there. So that's all I know right now.
There you go. All right.
Brylang says we should do a show on electric scooters and electric bikes. Maybe not just ride share ones, but those in general.
Okay. I will take that under advisement.
I've looked long and hard at electric bikes. I thought that would be kind of nice. And
did you get dizzy?
What?
Did you get dizzy looking long and hard at electric bikes?
Because they kept going around and around and around.
Yeah.
In my head.
All right.
Keats is incredible.
Yes, he is.
He's a geocaching machine, much like the monkeys, actually. He says it's day 386 for the fine streak. Keep on hiding them, folks.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to keep his streak going if people keep hiding caches.
Yeah, exactly. So he's pushing for people to go hide them so he can keep his streak going.
Well,
it's a little selfish, isn't it, Keats? No, I'm giving you a hard time. You're just fine.
Oh, that's funny. What else? Keepers of the Cash Flow threw a FATAS in here. The hedge ham is 8.5 months old already and is almost the same height as Flutterby, our 4-year-old daughter. Wow. That's
wow. Crazy. That is crazy. They're making kids bigger these days. Many of you know I work at a school, and I've gone through the high school hallways, and I'm 6 foot. I consider myself, I don't know if I'm tall, but I'm at least average. And I'm walking the hallways and I'm looking up to boys and girls going, what are they feeding these kids?
I've always had that problem.
Oh, okay.
It's just relative sometimes, but yeah.
That's why I teach elementary.
Yeah, I was going to say in the kindergarten classrooms, when they do the karate demonstrations, I always come out on top.
There you go. Well done. Well done. Hey, I'm going to throw out a hashtag FATAS, another one from Keats94. He's talking about sharing about a CBC. So this is the Canadian version of the PBS.
PBS, yeah.
Yeah. So CBC has radio and television. So that we keep it simple in Canada. We just call everything one thing. All right. So anyways, the CBC has a show that is called Still Standing. It's featuring Canada's small towns, and it's hosted by a great Newfoundland comedian actor that we all enjoy. And if you've ever watched Murdoch Mysteries, no, yeah, okay, well, then never mind.
Oh, Murdoch from the A-Team. I loved him.
Yeah, no, different. Anyways, so the town featured in upcoming episodes is Wilberforce, Ontario. Wilberforce is actually the town in Canada that calls themselves the geocaching capital of Canada.
Mhm.
There's a geo tour that's featured out of that area. The whole episode is going to have a geocaching theme. So that is on October 30th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And links in the show notes and the chat there. So yeah, Johnny Harris is the name of the actor. Thank you very much, Keats. He plays
Crabtree.
I'm trying to remember his police title. He's a constable, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, it's a murder mystery show set in late 1800s, early 1900s Toronto, Canada. And the lead character, the Inspector Murdoch or Detective Murdoch, is he's always sort of leading edge of his generation with creative thinking and inventions and such. It's a fun show.
Nice. So is it a bit Sherlock Holmesy?
Kind of. I mean, it's murder mystery,
Okay.
but yeah.
Interesting. Constable Crabtree.
There we go. Thanks, Kev MacD. So yeah,
Nice.
I enjoy watching that show. Anyways,
So,
there you go.
So one more thing going on here.
Yeah.
Brylang wants to know. He's hashtag asking for a friend. And we all know what that really means.
Means he has a lot of friends with a lot of questions.
What should the driver in a car do during a geocache road trip when he's already found all the caches along the route? Well, it's simple. He should be the driver and navigator. So while they're out getting the cache, you've already found it. You go ahead and navigate to the next one for them and say, hey, we're going to GC ABC. And this is a difficulty 3, terrain 1, and you'll be looking for a bison in a cedar hedge.
Please fasten your seatbelts and keep your trays in the upright position.
Please keep your arms and legs in the car at all times. Until it comes to a complete and final stop.
Oh, that is too funny.
So I think by providing that level of service, all the other people in the car ought to buy you lunch and dinner and drinks and snacks all day long.
Have you been bribed by Brylang to provide this answer? This sounds rehearsed a little bit. I mean,
I don't know. I haven't thought of. No, I have not, but it makes a lot of sense to me.
There you go. Well,
but if you've already done it, then you know where it's right over there. Go look in that cedar hedge because
if it's a power trail, that's assuming you remember where they all are.
They're all the same there.
You just look for the pile of rocks every 520 feet.
Not necessarily. Not this series where I know where they're headed. And
speaking of power trails,
yeah,
there was an interesting one as we were heading over to Wyoming. There's a rails to trails trail between the westbound and the eastbound lanes of the interstate. And there was a power trail along there. And we're looking, it's like, oh, look at all these ones we can't get because they're down on the rails to trails, not on the highway itself. So
really in between. So in the median between in the freeway.
Well, so basically the freeway was built on either side of the railroad right of way.
That makes sense.
And then they turned it into a trail rather than, rails to trails. And then somebody went and put a 40, 50 cache power trail along there. And we were thinking, wow, if you get somebody to take you on a bike to the top of the trail, because it was all hills, you take a bike from the top of the trail to the bottom of the trail, it wouldn't take that long to cruise through this one.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be nice.
You just got to figure out how to bribe somebody, maybe somebody who's already found all of the caches along that trail.
Oh, well, you wouldn't be able to stop along the freeway, but you could get one of the, what are those called? The cars that go on the rail that you push
There are
up
no
and
rails
down.
here anymore. It's just paved.
Oh, bummer. I wanted to be able to do that.
All right. Well, as we're wrapping up again, thank you very much to Camp Clan for hanging out with us tonight. You guys have been great
Our
guests.
pleasure.
It's been fun to hear about your trip and kind of relive some of my adventures through you. So that's a lot of fun. Also want to shout out and thank our show lackey, our podcast lackey, for the great work done tonight, keeping on top of all the hashtag FATAS stuff, getting in the show notes and helping just a little bit more help to keep us on track and keep this podcast going well.
Did you notice I didn't ask a question that had already been asked before?
Nicely done.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to be able to watch what's going on.
That's fantastic. So thank you. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for hanging out with us tonight. You guys are all awesome. It's been fun hanging out with you, and you contribute a lot to this podcast.
And folks, thanks so much. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.
Good night.
Good night.